Hi there, Leanne from the Vermilion District Chamber of Commerce. This Town of Vermilion Councillor update or Councillor candidate interview will be with Robert Snow. And just a reminder that all of the candidates have been asked the same questions in the same order without any prior knowledge of what the questions will be. And also just a reminder for everybody to get out and vote on October 18th. So Rob, I'll hand it over to you. You can kind of let us know who you are and why you decided to run.
Okay, so as Leanne said, I'm Rob Snow. I've been in this community for over 20 years now, and the whole time I've been here, I've been a paramedic with the variety of ambulance services I've been here. And it's been my passion to serve this community. And as my years run down on the ambulance, I was looking for ways to continue serving the community and be a part of the community's growth and future. And it made sense to me to look at council and be a part of that. There's a lot of things I'd like to bring to council, and I think that I could offer to council. So, and I think my experience with the ambulance would be one of them, just being in healthcare for that long. And like I said, it's just been a real passion of mine just to serve this community. I love the people. We came here in 2000 and we never looked back. I came from Edmonton originally from out east, but Edmonton before Vermilion, and we loved it. Our son was raised here. And yeah, I just have a passion to really promote the needs and the concerns and the hopes of the people of this community.
Okay. So the first question was, how long have you lived in the community, which you kind of said, and then how are you involved in the community in any other ways?
Okay. So we actually moved to the community a year after I started working here in EMS, in emergency medical services. I'd worked here and I'd commuted back and forth to Vermilion. And then once our son was a little bit older, I think he was just rounding 2, we moved here. And my biggest involvement would be as a paramedic. I've been involved as a paramedic in my early years, just as an employee. And then since 2006, I've actually been the supervisor for our division in Vermilion. Which in that time, I've been very proud to be a part of and hosted a bunch of community initiatives. I've worked with the town office in helping senior initiatives get forward, senior safety awareness programs. So we would sit down with seniors on a quarterly basis and talk about their needs and their concerns within the community and kind of build a safer future for them. We've worked with helping the Rotary Club get the ZOL, the life pack monitors and the defibrillators in the community, and a bunch of initiatives within the ambulance. I've been very proud of that. We brought in the It Can't Happen to Me program, which helps our youth understand the risks of drinking and driving and the risks of distracted driving. So I've been very proud to head that up over the years, and we found a lot of success with that. Outside of the ambulance, I've been involved with a few boards. Glad Tidings Pentecostal Church, I was on their board for several years. I was up to this last month on Focus, VAPD Focus's board. I'm excited to announce that I am retiring as a paramedic as of November 1st and taking on the executive director role at Focus. And my goal in that was the same as in running for town council. I just think it's important to be involved in your community. The individuals at Focus and the people we serve, they need a voice and they need someone to represent them. And I was proud and excited when they approached me and asked me to take on that role. So that's essentially how I've been involved. I've been also, I guess, with the town council, they have their public safety committee. So over the years, I've been involved in that as well in my role as paramedic supervisor within the community.
Okay, excellent. Being that expenses and the cost of living have increased, as a future councillor, would you agree taxes are too high in Vermilion? And if so, how would you propose to lower or at the very least hold them the same over the next few years?
That's a good question, a loaded question, but a good question. So as a town councillor, I wouldn't say my goal would be to raise or lower taxes per se. My goal would be to look at what our taxes are. Are they meeting our needs? Can we cut back on them? How do we have to fulfill the financial needs that the community has? And how do we be fair in our taxation of the citizens? We never want to overburden our communities, right? Especially in this time of COVID when we've had enough stresses and anxieties. We've had enough stuff going on that have caused job loss and job insecurity. I would never want to add more burden to that. But we also have to be real that running a community does cost money. So as a town councillor, my goal would be to look at it fair and honestly and balance the needs of the community against the needs of each and individual citizen and how taxes affect them. I know taxes do go up every year, and we all feel the effect of that, not just in the community, but provincially and nationally. And uh, and I think it's councillors' responsibilities to be accountable to its citizens to fairly assess and judge what the taxes are and what our needs are financially.
Vermilion is a beautiful town and is flourishing so nicely. My concern is with the trailer park area. There are many young families that live in that area, but the roads are still gravel and no sidewalks, but yet the taxes are high. For instance, this submissioner says that theirs is approximately $1,700 per year. During winter months, there is no street cleaning that happens, and in the summer months, the roadways get wet and muddy from the substance the town uses and the rain. The residents know their taxes will increase if paving does happen, but it might be worth finding out if that is possible. Would you advocate for change in this area? It would be nice to see this area cleaned up where families can teach their kids how to ride a bike or learn to skateboard.
That's another good question, and one that I can kind of appreciate. It was only maybe 7 years ago that our road got paved in my neck of the woods. So I appreciate the dust and the concerns with not being shoveled when it's gravel. I think it's something to look at for sure. As a council member, I don't think it'd be fair to say I can make any promises on that, but I know that's a legitimate concern and a legitimate request. And I think it's something that we need to look at. The future of our town and the growth of our town. Are gravel roads an outdated thing? And how do we, again, budget that? Because I know the taxes do go up significantly. They did for mine as well. And that's a challenge. That's a challenge that I would like to bring forward as a council member. I can't say I have the answer right now. I would say that I would like to have a committee that from the people in the community that would look at it and address it and bring some creative ideas forward. I think, yeah, not being able to shovel the roads in the winter does produce a risk. I know as my time as paramedic, I've been on those roads quite a bit, and there is some challenges. So I think the answer is, yeah, I think it's something we do have to look at. How we go forward with it, that would be a bunch of heads coming together to find the proper solution. I don't know if it's necessarily just raising taxes on everyone and going ahead and paving it. Maybe there's other solutions we can look at on long-term payments or doing larger areas and getting a discount. But that would be something that once you're in council and you have a bit better understanding of the ins and outs that I would like to look at.
Why are we as taxpayers paying for an economic development department that attracts competitors, such as restaurants, that could possibly put our pre-existing businesses out of business? What new businesses do you think would be a positive addition to our town?
Oh, that's first on the new businesses coming in. I think it's exciting that we have new businesses coming in. I know there's always that risk on local businesses, but I love our local businesses. I was just talking to someone the other day about just the creativity of our businesses that we see downtown now and how they're adapting and growing with the outside competitions, with the main chains that are coming in. I think it produces stronger community and stronger downtown structure. That little bit of competition. I would never want to see competition drive out what we have, but I think it's neat how that our community has adapted. I love shopping downtown. I love going for coffee downtown. It's a great experience. What I would like to see come in, I don't know. That's a good question that honestly I haven't really ever thought of what I'd like to come in. I know we got McDonald's and I think that's exciting. I think the lineups that we've seen at the drive-through show that the town's excited about it. And I don't think it'll take away from our downtown core or any community initiatives or stores that are already running. I like the pace of our growth. I would be worried, I guess, if we had too much come in at once and we flooded our community. It does produce jobs, but if we flooded our community with too many main brand realtors and whatnot, that would be a risk. But I like the pace that we're going. We're bringing stuff in. It's a steady pace, but it's not an overwhelming pace. It gives our community time to adapt. It gives our current store owners downtown and throughout the community, for that matter, time to adapt and grow and to assess how they want to go forward. And so I think that's exciting because I think we can all agree that we driving downtown, the downtown that we see now isn't the same downtown we seen 10 years ago. And that excites me because there's a lot of very cool stores that I love going into. And I profess I don't go into enough. Times are tough with COVID, so I haven't been shopping as much, just like everyone else. But it amazes me that these stores have persevered through these challenges, through layoffs, through supply chain breaks with COVID, and I want to support them equally as looking at new opportunities. But my goal, I guess, would be we have to balance it so new opportunities don't outweigh, I guess, the current climates in our community.
Unless you are a World War II vet, COVID is by far the largest crisis of our lifetime. Such crises require steadfast and strong responses to minimize damages. While Vermilion has been very lucky to so far have avoided a COVID catastrophe, the province as a whole has not. While other municipalities have actively responded to the COVID crisis with strong safety measures and messaging, the town of Vermilion, in contrast, has not been a strong promoter of COVID safety information or safety measures. Rather, the number of mental health posts on the town Facebook page are dozens of times more frequent than safety information for the pandemic. COVID is a crisis of community which needs the leaders to lead the community, but that didn't happen. Would you have responded any differently to the COVID crisis had you been on town council? And specifically, what will you do differently now if elected?
Well, that's another good question. I've seen firsthand how COVID's affected our community as a whole, as our province as a whole. As being a paramedic, I get to be in these situations firsthand, helping citizens who have contracted COVID, and even in the cities, like we are doing calls in the cities constantly with COVID calls. I think it's something that we'll have to go back and look at and honestly reflect on how we did. Looking back right now and saying, could you have done it better? Could we have done it better? It's a little bit of a loaded question, right? There's always things we could do better. There's things that we are doing good right now. I can honestly say that being a paramedic that serves multiple communities, because our current paramedic system serves more than just Vermilion, there's a lot of communities that have it worse than us. And then there are a lot that have it better than us. Public awareness is always key. We want to balance our rights to have choices with the needs of the community around us, right? And so I think public awareness is always key. Giving people good information in a society that's full of false information on one side or the other side, having good information and good structure from your leaders, that would be town council, the mayor, and the hospitals and our medical directors. That's key. That's key to keep people informed, help them feel secure, and help them feel safe, and help them make good informed decisions on what they need to do. Like I said, I'm not a proponent that we have to force everyone to do the same thing, but giving people good, honest information will help people make good choices. And I think, I wouldn't want to ever condemn a community for what they've done or haven't done. I think going forward, all of our communities can look at how we can better reflect information and share information. God forbid we ever have to go through this again. But if we did, I think one of the keys is having good information so it's citizens of the communities can make good choices. I think one of the biggest challenges with COVID is the confusion, right? We've heard one group of people say, don't do this. Another group say, do this. Take this shot. Don't take this shot. Don't take any shots. I think having good leaders that promote founded information would be key for our community and all communities for that matter.
What do you think of the current road cleaning services like snow plowing and street sweeping? What would you do to improve it?
Hmm. Wow. Honestly, I've never thought of the road cleaning before. I guess you can always look at improving it by increasing it, but then again, we talked about earlier with taxes, right? We have to balance how much of an issue is it versus how much do we want to pay, right? Because all services cost money. Is there areas to improve? Yeah, probably. I know, again, like many communities, the roads will get plowed a lot in the beginning of the year, and by the end of the year the budget's usually gone, and they don't get plowed as much as they should, and usually it's March that we get those big snowstorms, right? I think management is key in snow plowing and looking at the trends of weather, and respectfully for the people that do that now, I would assume that they do look at those trends and try and budget it out, but the weather is about as the most uncertain thing we have going for us. I think it's something that we could look at. My street, I've been lucky, it does stay relatively clear, but I can imagine that there is areas in the town that don't get as often. And that's something we could look at. But again, my key with being in the councillor role would be balancing, are we meeting needs? If we're meeting the needs, are we causing stresses in other places? So if we spend all this money on cleaning the roads, but now our taxes are so high that a lot of us can't afford to live here, then we really haven't met a need. So I would like to take an honest look at it and say, what needs are being met and what aren't? Is there a certain area in the community that's not getting plowed in the same timely manner as other areas? Then let's address that. If it's the Brennan's not getting plowed as much as Airport, then let's address those issues and see how we can make sure that everyone's getting the fair service and a service that's adequate for our needs.
If you received a $1 million grant, no strings attached, to use for the town in any way, what would you do with it and why?
Oh man, a $1 million grant, eh? I would probably put it back into organizations that serve the community. Our hockey leagues, our lunch programs, out of school care programs, programs for individuals with specific needs and vulnerabilities, and seniors. That's always been my passion. Like I stated, my heart's to serve this community. I'm excited for the commercial growth, and I'm excited to see it continue to grow. But I think we got to be responsible, take care of the people around us that need our support. So I would probably look at putting it into those areas.
And the last question is, what is the number one thing that you wish to accomplish in your 4 years as councillor?
Boy, I just want to make a difference in our community and help us look forward to the future. There's a lot of things on the agenda. There's a lot of issues that people have brought forward and will continue to bring forward. And I want to be a fair voice that recognizes those concerns and balance it with the opportunities that we have and may have, and really give this community the hope and the encouragement that it needs, because it's an amazing community and there's a lot of opportunities here. So I think my goal would be to address the challenges, but look at a fair and an honest way to resolve some of them. And that's really comes down to collaboration and working in partnership with the council and with the people of the community, with the commercial side of the community, and organizations within the community. I think partnership's the key for our growth.
Okay, so with that, that's the end of our prepared questions. So if there's anything else that you'd like to say before we wrap up, now would be a good time.
I'm just excited to have this opportunity. I love, like I said, I love this community. I love the people in it. And I just would like to say, if your values align with mine and you want to see this community grow in partnership, then remember me on October 18th and vote for me. And I would love to be one of the councillors that serves you in the council role. Thank you.
Well, perfect. Thank you for spending some time with us, Rob.